Some studies showed that men in their late 20s or early 30s, if they still have no sexual experience, they would consider themselves as unattractive to women and would often lose self-confidence. Some would even slowly turn into an introvert. Hello everyone, let's investigate here. Today, we will be talking about a massive shooting that took place back in 2014 in Santa Barbara, where a college student randomly shot people on the street before taking his own life. Later, it was determined that the shooter hated himself and the world because he was already 20 years old, but he was still a virgin. He wanted a girlfriend, but over the years, he failed to get one, and this slowly manifested into hatred for the society. I remember calling my friends in UCSB to check on them when I saw the news. So who is this? Who is the person that hated the entire world just because he failed to get into a relationship? Let's dive right into today's case. Elliot Rodger was born on July 27, 1991, in London. His father, Peter Rodger, was a famous film director in England, and his mother, Lee Chin Rodger, was a registered nurse working on the film set, and that was how his parents met. Elliot was born 2 years after his parents got married, and his younger sister, Georgia Rodger, was born shortly after. The Rodger family moved to the United States due to Peter's work. He believed it is better for his career if they reside in Los Angeles. Elliot quickly adapted to the new city and made a couple of new friends at his school. When Elliot turned 7, his parents decided to split, where he would stay with his father and his sister would stay with his mother. Peter married another woman, but due to his intense work schedule, he did not spend as much time with his family. Elliot remembered that whenever his dad came home, there would be non-stop arguments between the two. The family was just not the same as before, and he missed his mother and sister dearly, but he knew they couldn't go back to where they used to be. The lonely young boy had become an introvert teenager. Elliot had walled himself into the fictional cyber world of World of Warcraft. His constant companions were the heroes and villains of the online fantasy game. His teacher would describe him as extremely shy and unconfident. Even though Elliot grew up in a wealthy family, he was not happy. He was often bullied at school, and no one would stand up for him and help him. When Elliot turned 13, he got a younger brother, Jazz Rodger, and this made him even more anxious as he thought his parents would give more attention to his younger brother. He felt like his world just fell apart. He would get bullied at school, and his parents wouldn't care for him anymore and spend all their time and effort on his younger brother. Elliot was slowly eaten up by the loneliness inside him. Soon, Elliot developed depression. He would love to talk to someone about his problems, but there was nobody to talk to. When he tried to talk to his parents, they would think it is normal for a teenager to go through a phase like this, so they did not take him seriously. Since there was no one to talk to, Elliot decided to register a YouTube account and just talk to the camera, in hopes that someone in the world would have empathy for him. Even though Elliot found a place to dump all his negativities in his head, he was still getting bullied at school. He never said anything nor fought back, and this just made the situation worse. The bullies never stopped, so Elliot had no choice but switch schools. But this did not solve the problem. He was still alone and still getting bullied. At the age of 16, Elliot already had depression, schizophrenia, and bipolar disorder. He was scheduled to attend at least one session with his psychiatrist each week, and he would need to take a lot of medication for his mental disorders. Elliot once complained to his parents, "It is impossible for me to communicate with people, and no one wants to be friends with me. None of the girls at the school will even take a look at me. This made me really depressed." He saw all the popular kids at school were driving a nice car, and there was always a pretty girl in the passenger seat. He thought maybe that's how you attract girls. Elliot's family was rich, so he quickly got himself a BMW and started to upgrade his appearances. He got new clothes, new shoes, and a new car. We can see that at this time, he was still trying really hard to fit in. He was still fighting his mental disorders. But all these external changes did not help with his shy and anxious personality. Elliot did look better, but he was still afraid to talk to people. So in the end, he was driving his new car alone, with no one ever in his passenger seat. When Elliot turned 18, the desire to get a girlfriend grew stronger, and he was quite upset that he is still a virgin. He started to feel jealous whenever he saw his classmates getting into a relationship. One time, he saw a young couple at the Starbucks hugging and kissing. He got so mad that he threw his hot coffee at them. We can slowly see Elliot's hatred reflecting on his aggressive behavior. Elliot attended Santa Barbara City College in 2011, and he officially moved out of home and was living with some roommates. However, he grew even more upset whenever he saw his roommates bring girls back to the room. He became more aggressive, and the roommates had enough of him and chose to move out. They will be glad that they did, and you will know why in a little bit. In 2012, just his second year of college, he decided not to go to school anymore because he couldn't stand to see all the couples around campus. He started to gamble with the determination to get rich overnight, so girls would finally recognize him with all the money he got. But we all know it is not easy to make money in gambling. Elliot lost almost $1,500 in just 1 month. When he received the bill, he just sat in his room and fell in despair. He turned on his camera and started to vent. At this time, Elliot was completely lost. He started to consume excessive alcohol to escape reality. One time, he chugged the entire bottle of hard liquor, and of course, after a few minutes, he threw up on his computer. Elliot was freaking out since he knew without his computer he had nothing. He wouldn't be able to upload videos to his YouTube channel, nor play World of Warcraft. Therefore, he went to the mall to fix his computer. While he was waiting, he saw a shooting range right across. He figured he had nothing to do. Might as well go kill some time, and went in to practice firing handguns. And this was when he discovered the sound of shooting greatly excites him. He absolutely fell in love with the sound of bullets hitting the metal plates. The more he shot, the more furious he got, and he started to imagine the metal plates as the people he hated and all the young couples he saw walking down the street. This twisted imagination would mark the start of him to total destruction. When he got home that night, he quickly wrote down his thoughts in his diary. You know, I wanted a normal life and to be a normal person. But the lack of attention from the ladies and also the lack of sexual experience made me extremely upset. If I can't get these, none of you can. I will have to avenge this society, and that will be my only choice. Can you imagine a person would go this far just because he couldn't get a girlfriend? Elliot was harboring horrible thoughts at this time. He purchased a Glock 34 semi-automatic pistol and also a P226 handgun later during spring break. But he just kept these two guns in his room. In 2013, Elliot was still trying his best to impress girls. He started to go to the gym and tried to make himself look bigger, since he believed girls are more into guys that are more masculine. But all this hard work seems useless, as he was still alone with no friends. He attended a party, but he was still alone drinking by himself in a corner. He finally could not take it anymore, and he grabbed a random girl that was passing by. Of course, the girl freaked out and started screaming. A couple of her friends came up to Elliot and started beating him, and he was eventually kicked out of the party. This resulted in a broken foot, which required surgery. Even though Elliot recovered quite well, his hatred for the society has risen to another level. In 2014, Elliot started to take walks in the nature. He would go on a hike or even drive to the beach to see the sunset. However, none of these would loosen up the tension, and his hatred was still growing each day. Here is one of the clips he took while he was waiting for the sunset.
Elliot Rodger here. I'm just sitting in my car right now after watching that beautiful sunset descend beyond that hill up there. enjoying a nice vanilla latte. I've been doing a lot of thinking about how sad and unfair my life has been, all because girls haven't been attracted to me. I've been going through college for 2.5 years now, and in those 2.5 years, I've had to rot in bleak and sad loneliness, while other guys get to enjoy all the pleasures of, sex and socializing and partying. I've never had a taste of that because no girls give me a chance. No girl at my college has ever expressed any interest in me. I mean, you give a chance to all these stupid, obnoxious guys that I see you walking with, but you don't give a chance to me. Why not? I'm such a magnificent guy. I'm beautiful. You can't deny that. I've traveled all over the world. I have so much to talk about. I'm civilized, intelligent, sophisticated. I have a sense of style. And yet you girls don't see it.
As you can see, Elliot is not a bad-looking dude, but he is extremely narcissistic and antisocial. He viewed himself as superior to others, and no one can get onto his level. In one of his other vlogs, we can see that Elliot went from a shy person to a complete sociopath. He uploaded this clip on YouTube, and a lot of people alarmed the student center in hope that they could check up on Elliot. They quickly sent authorities to Elliot's dorm and asked him if he had any suicidal thoughts, but Elliot pretended that everything was fine and said YouTube was just an outlet for him to express his emotion, nothing else. The authorities couldn't do anything else, since Elliot did look normal, so they left. But if they would just search his room, they would have found the 2 loaded guns and boxes of ammo sitting in there.
Hey, Elliot Rodger here. I'm just sitting in my car right now, enjoying the view of the beach. And my view has been ruined by this sight right here. In front of me, sitting right there on that bench, is a young couple. I presume about my age. I was enjoying such a nice view until they came and sat down and started kissing. This is the reason why life isn't fair. Why does that guy get to have such a beautiful girlfriend while I'm all alone? Why?
Elliot's plan was to murder his stepmother first, since she never cared for him, and his stepbrother next, because he stole all the attention and love from his dad. The only person he wouldn't want to kill is his dad. So he was planning on executing this while his dad is away for a business trip. After killing his stepmother and stepbrother, he will kill his 2 roommates and also the girls in the sorority house next door. He will then proceed to the road and purge as many people as possible before shooting himself in the head. After planning all these, he uploaded his last video on YouTube.
Well, this is my last video. It all has to come to this. Tomorrow is the day of retribution. The day in which I will have my revenge against humanity, against all of you. Girls gave their affection and sex and love to other men, but never to me. I'm 22 years old and I'm still a virgin. I've never even kissed a girl. You girls have never been attracted to me. I don't know why you girls aren't attracted to me, but I will punish you all for it. It's an injustice, a crime, because I don't know what you don't see in me. I'm the perfect guy. And yet you throw yourselves at all these obnoxious men, instead of me, the supreme gentleman. I will punish all of you for it.
On May 23, 2014, Elliot began his murderous plan. He ran into his apartment and knifed two of his roommates, George Chen and James Hong, and also their friend who happened to be hanging out in the room, David Wayne. After killing these three students, he purchased a coffee at a local coffee shop and uploaded his retribution video on YouTube and sent his 137 pages manifesto, My Twisted World, to everyone in his contact list, including his biological mother and sister, family doctor, and therapist. After receiving a copy of the manifesto, Elliot's therapist phoned his mother, who also found the retribution video on his YouTube channel, contacted Elliot's father. In separate cars, his parents left Los Angeles for Santa Barbara, calling Isla Vista police on the way. But all these efforts were a little too late. Elliot had already begun his purge. He drove to Alpha Phi sorority house near UCSB, where he knocked on the front door a few times, but no one answered the door. He then began shooting people nearby. Catherine Brianne Cooper and Veronica Elizabeth Weiss were shot and killed while walking by the sorority house. He began driving again. He fired into an unoccupied coffee shop, then several times into the Isla Vista Deli Mart. Michaels Martinez was struck 7 times and killed. Elliot drove on the wrong side of the street, striking pedestrians and firing at random people on the sidewalk. He even encountered the police, where they exchanged fire and was shot at the hip. Before losing his consciousness, he struck a bicycle and then crashed into the sidewalk. Elliot knew that he could not drive anymore and shot himself in the head. There were a total of 6 people that were killed, and they were all students from UCSB. 14 other people were injured, 7 from gunshot wounds, and 7 by blunt trauma sustained when Elliot struck them with his car. The mayor of Santa Barbara came out and described the shooting as unpredictable. But is it? To me, it is totally preventable. Elliot's therapist should have known the mental state of his patient and could have alarmed authorities that this is a serious situation. Some California lawmakers called for the investigation into the deputy's contact with Elliot on April 30th, at which time the California gun ownership database reflected the fact that Elliot had bought at least 2 handguns. Deputies did not check the database nor search his room, and they could have dealt with this situation more seriously since Elliot's YouTube videos are a clear sign of him committing this mass shooting. There was a suggestion that Elliot might have had Asperger's syndrome, though he was never formally diagnosed. Asperger's syndrome is a neurodevelopmental disorder characterized by significant difficulties in social interactions and nonverbal communication, along with restricted and repetitive patterns of behaviors and interests. In his YouTube video, we can see that Elliot's body movements were extremely uncoordinated, and most of the time, he was just repeating the same sentence over and over again. In his journal, he wrote, "I don't understand you girls. You're attracted to the wrong kind of guy. You should have been attracted to guys like me, beautiful and magnificent guy." Elliot was narcissistic and felt like he was superior to everyone else. But in this world, not everything is about you. We can't be self-centered, and we need to have empathy and put ourselves in others' perspective.